not really important that you see me. And we're going to concentrate on the presentation. First of all, if we review just a little bit from December's webinar, in that webinar we talked about buying RoboForm, installing RoboForm, changing master password, locking RoboForm, and all the things you see listed on the page. We're not going to go over those again today. So if you didn't see the webinar or you've forgotten it, you should go back and watch it again. And in that case, I'm actually going to take a quick little poll here from everyone. Just two questions, yes or no, both of them. If you could fill that out. Are you already using RoboForm? Yes or no? And did you attend or watch? Now, you may not have attended live last month, but if you registered, you would have gotten a follow-up. So let me know if you did either attend or watch the first RoboForm webinar from last month. So when you've made those selections, you click on the green tab at the bottom that says to send your votes. And when you do that, you'll see it says thanks for your participation. All right, so I'll just give everybody, oh, everyone has voted, so that's great. So we're going to end the voting at this point, and now we're going to go back to the presentation. That'll be just some information I can look at and know if there's anything else I need to follow up on. So these things we are not going to follow up on today because they were in the other webinar. And if you didn't miss it, if you missed it, or if you've forgotten something, you can always go back online and watch that. Now, we are going to pick up with browser integration, and RoboForm works with the following browsers: Internet Explorer, Google Chrome, Firefox, Opera. Those are all the same from last month's webinar. The addition is that now RoboForm works with Microsoft Edge, and that was not the case last month. And it is now an extension that you can use, and I'm going to show you how to do that. For those of you that don't use Microsoft Edge, I just ask you to bear with us a few slides so I can show everyone how to put RoboForm in Microsoft Edge. So in Edge, the first thing you do is in the upper right-hand corner of Microsoft Edge, you'll see three little dots. And you, on the presentation, you can see the circle around that. And if you put your mouse over those dots, you'll see a little box comes up with the word More in it. And so what you do is you click on there and you'll get a menu. And if you look down the menu, one of the things you'll see is extensions. You see the red arrow pointing to that. So then you're going to click on extensions, and that will bring up this box that you see on the screen now. And it will show any extensions you already have installed. At the time when I took the screenshots, I only had one extension installed. And since you want RoboForm, you click where it says Get Extensions from the Store. So we're going to do that. And when we do that, it's going to open up the Microsoft Store, and it will show the extensions for Microsoft Edge. And everything you see listed there are the extensions that are available. Now, this is a little bit of an aside as far as RoboForm goes, but I do not recommend all these extensions that are here. So in case you're thinking about installing other extensions, shoot me an email and say, I'm thinking about putting this extension in. What do you think? And let me respond to that, because there's a few here that I really don't like them as extensions and wish they weren't there, but Microsoft did not consult with me before they decided to allow these extensions in. But RoboForm, of course, is good and safe. So we see RoboForm on the list, so we're going to click on RoboForm. And when we do that, we'll see that it opens up and it says RoboForm for Microsoft Edge. And I know it's a little small to see, but the red circle is going around. The icon says install. Now you may have to, I was already logged into the Microsoft Store. If you're not logged in, they may have you log in before you can actually download the extension. As you sit there, after you click install, that little icon or that little button will change colors and the wording will change. And this capture that I did, it says downloading. So it's downloading RoboForm. And then eventually it will come up and it will say launch. And when you click on the word launch, what happens is in Microsoft Edge in the right-hand corner, you'll see it says you have a new extension. And it tells you all that RoboForm can do. And as long as you don't have any problems with what it can do, you click on turn it on. You can also use keep it off. And anytime it is on, you could always go back to this and turn it off if for some reason you did not want it on. But of course, we're trying to install RoboForm in Edge, so we're going to say turn it on. And then when we do that, we'll see it listed with the rest of our Microsoft Edge extensions. Now, if you move your mouse over RoboForm and it gets gray like you see on this picture, a little icon will appear, the red circle is around it, and that is the settings icon. So before you get all carried away, it's a good idea to click on that and check some settings. And under general options, that's the only one I'm really showing today. But under general options, and I'll make that a little bigger for you if I can, you should be able to see that there's options to have it log out after a day, 3 hours, whatever. The default is 1 day. I don't like it that long. I generally set mine for whatever options are available. I usually set mine for 2 or 3 hours. In this case, 3 hours is available. So I would tell it that I wanted to log out automatically if I haven't used it in 3 hours. Now keep in mind, it also logs out if you log off, if you put your computer to sleep, if you turn your computer off, RoboForm logs off anyway. But this is just if the computer is sitting and you're not doing anything. Okay, and then for the first time, you'll have to log into RoboForm. So you'll put your ID, your user ID, your email, whichever one you're using there. I use a user ID and not an email. And then you're going to put your password and you're going to click login. Now, when that happens, one of the things, if you're used to RoboForm and Internet Explorer and even Google Chrome and Opera and Firefox, it's a little bit different in Edge. Of course, it would be. And yeah, I'll show you in a minute the main difference. But when I first click on it, here you see logins, bookmarks, identities, contacts, safe notes, etc. And that's kind of similar to the others. The problem happens when you click on logins. This is what you get. You get a long column of all your logins. And you have to scroll up and down to find the login you want. Okay, so that's not quite as convenient as I'm going to show you my logins here. This is one page of my 2 pages of logins. And this was taken in, I believe, Google Chrome. So, it's a little more convenient when they're all laid out that way instead of having to go back and scroll up and down. However, as a RoboForm customer, I'm just delighted that it's in Microsoft Edge, so I'm not going to gripe too much, even though I have to scroll up and down instead of seeing everything across like I do in the other browsers. But that is kind of a big difference that takes a little getting used to. But again, at least your logins and everything are there. Okay, so that's pretty much it in Edge. And so now you can have RoboForm in Edge. You can follow that procedure if you haven't installed it already. And you're good to go with RoboForm in Edge. Okay, now, so I mentioned the other browsers, and I did want to point out something about Google Chrome. When you're in Google Chrome, if you right-click on the RoboForm icon up in the basically what we would call the address bar, if you right-click on that, you can get this menu that's showing now, and then left-click on Options, you'll see that there's a bunch of options. Well, a bunch. There's 5 options there. And you can actually put the RoboForm toolbar at the bottom of Google Chrome. And that would be very similar to in Internet Explorer and Firefox. It sits at the top. But if you put a check mark in um, the very first option, which is not there by default. So I put a check mark in Show Lower RoboForm Toolbar. So what happens is because I did that, now when I go to RoboForm in Google Chrome, my bar is at the bottom. And so that's kind of a neat thing. The bar is at the bottom. Now, the next thing I want to talk about is some other things that you can do with RoboForm besides saving passwords and bookmarks, etc. One of those things is you can use it to generate passwords. And I wanted to show you a little bit of difference. Like when I click on generate, all right, it brings up some regular settings and I clicked on advanced settings so you can see this full menu. By default, the number of characters is 8. 8 characters in some password that it's going to create. And that's okay. Also, by default, it will use capitals, lowercase, and numbers. And that's okay too. And when you look at that, like the one that's created here automatically for me, this KICR4, it says the bit strength is 45. Now, we're not going to get into an explanation of bit strength, etc. I can only tell you it's like most sports, the higher the better. So, if you're a hockey fan like me, the more goals that your team scores, that's the better. Same thing here. And I'm going to show you on the next one. I made some changes in the advanced settings. I changed the number of characters to 12 instead of 8. And then instead of just using capitals, lowercase, and 0 to 9, I put a check mark in symbols. And when it created a new password, you can see that the bit strength now is 70. So that's a significant increase just by changing from 8 characters to 12 characters and adding symbols. And you can see at the top here, in the password it created for me was a capital L, a 7, a capital T, an ME lowercase, an asterisk, a capital I, etc. So it was a good variation, and you're not going to remember that. So you're going to really depend on RoboForm to remember it for you, but it certainly could generate a decent password for you, and that's what you want. You want good, strong passwords. Now, it uses a kind of the same idea as the FBI method, which is what we teach, of course. The only difference is we teach you to create a complicated password and still be able to remember it. Okay, none of us are going to remember this L7TME, all that. It's very unlikely unless we have a photographic memory, we're not going to remember that. But if you took, a phrase like I do, like I love Hershey's chocolate and Reese's Pieces, and use the first letter from each word and put the numbers in between and put some symbols, that is a password that would be just as complicated as this one, but I'd be able to remember it. Now, when that's good is when you don't have RoboForm. If for some reason you're on something, maybe you're on somebody else's computer and you don't have RoboForm or you can't log into it for some reason, it's nice to be able to remember those complicated passwords. But RoboForm does an excellent job of generating complicated passwords for you. So that's how you would do it. And again, I had to click on advanced settings in order to get here. And I could change the number of characters. You have to be careful. Some websites limit the number of characters. So you obviously can't go over what their limit is. Some limit what symbols you can use. So you have to kind of be careful for that too. but it's a great little tool for generating passwords, and you can find it in any of the RoboForms in any of the browsers. All right, the next thing we want to talk about is another thing that you can do in RoboForm that you may not be aware is in there, even if you have been using RoboForm for a while. And that is the RoboForm gives you the option to create safe notes. So safe notes, you get to that by going, if you're using the toolbar, you get to where it says RoboForm and the little drop down arrow. And when you click on that, you see the menu that comes up. It's on the screen now. And what you can do is you can go to Safe Notes, put your mouse there, and another menu appears. And you can see that it shows you New, Edit, Print a List. Then the circle on the right-hand side is showing the safe notes that I've already created. And what happens is you can make these notes and have them password protected. So on the next picture you're going to see, I had clicked on New Note, New Safe Note, and the first thing it does, it asks me to give it a name. And of course, there's a check mark in Password Protect. If I take that check mark out, it's not really a safe note, it's just a note. So we definitely want it password protected. So I called this test 3 and then I clicked the OK button. And when I did that, what happened was this window comes up and I can now type over in the right hand side and it says this is yet another test is what I typed. This works very similar to Notepad in Windows. So that's why there's the option. You can see the option to click on word wrap. So when you see that, that's right over here where the yellow arrow is, if I can get it in the right place. But the word wrap would allow the text to stay within that box that you see on the screen. Otherwise, it would just keep going around and keep going over to the right and you'd have to scroll all the time to see it. So we don't want to do that. But anyway, you can type up your note and then when you're finished with it, it's closed and it's password protected. And then once again, you would go back to Safe Notes and on the right-hand side, my Safe Notes are there and I could just click on it and open it. And that's how that works. So Safe Notes is another kind of cool thing that's that's in RoboForm. Now, naturally, Safe Notes works just a little different in Microsoft Edge. And what happens here is when you go and from the menu, when you pick Safe Notes, the window that you see on the left of the screen right now is what you get. Inside the red circle, that shows you two icons. The one on the left is the icon for you to create a new note. The one on the right is for you to create a new folder to put the note in. So if you needed the note in a particular folder or a special folder, you could first create the folder, name it, and then put your safe note in it. Most of the time, I don't put my safe notes in a folder. They're just under safe notes. So what I did was I clicked the icon on the left, and that brought up the screen that you see on the right, where it says Create New Safe Note. Now, one advantage of this particular one is now I can put the name and the note in the same place. I don't have to open two windows like I do in the other browsers. So I would give this a name, then I would write my note, and I would click on OK, and now I have a safe note. And that's another great feature of RoboForm. So RoboForm isn't just storing passwords. You can use it to generate passwords. You can use it to keep your bookmarks. So you could be on any computer and log into RoboForm and get to your bookmarks. You can use it to keep your safe notes. Um, and again, it's like I would use safe notes. Like for instance, we just you know went over the holiday season, and I had little notes around for things that I wanted for Joyce. I could put it in a safe note. The only problem is that Joyce knows the password for my RoboForm, which of course she would. So, I couldn't put a safe note about a, Christmas present in there because she might accidentally open it and see the note. But if no one else knows your password, it's a great place to put things like that, Christmas lists or whatever, birthday lists, and that's how you can do a safe note. So that pretty much takes care of RoboForm in 2 webinars. Now, before I let you go, I have just couple things I'd like to just go over. We have our next webinar on Thursday, January 19th. And the title of that is Why You Need WinZip. And I just encourage all of you to sign up for that. Even if you don't know what WinZip is, if you don't understand why I would think that you need it, just sign up for it. I think you're going to find the webinar very interesting, and you'll see the reason I use WinZip all the time. Now, I know I'm running a business, so maybe I might use it more than you because I'm running a business, but um, I just encourage you, go sign up. Now, how do you sign up? You go to 4kcc.com/webinars, and you will see the webinar listed there for you to sign up. And again, I just encourage you to sign up for that. For those of you on the Treasure Coast, our next seminar is Saturday, January 15th. The title, of course, is Tutti Frutti, which, which, yes, 14th, January 14th. And the title is Tutti Frutti. And of course, the title has nothing to do with what we're going to go over, but we're going to do some fun things. As usual, I'm going to try to include a little smartphone information for you. And we're going to do some email things this month. And a few other things that I think you'll find pretty interesting. At least I hope so. So if you're on the Treasure Coast, I encourage you to come to that. Now, one other thing I encourage you to do is start going to 4kcc.com/blog. I'm really making an effort this year that I'm going to try to blog pretty much every workday, not the weekends, not holidays, but pretty much every workday. And already this week, um, I've already got 4 new blogs up. First one, it's a new year where we review passwords, speed versus security, VPN. By the way, we're going to have a webinar on VPN later in the month. Resize photos, and not all snags are bad. So I encourage you to go to 4kcc.com/blog and check out those blogs. And again, we're going to keep doing new ones. I'm going to try very hard to have something up every workday for you. All right, so please check that out. And then the last thing is 4kcc.com/specials. I preach about this all the time. If you're like us, we buy online all the time. Today we got an Amazon package, which is almost a daily event here. We got Amazon packages coming tomorrow and Saturday. So if you buy online, these companies that we are affiliated with, they have some great specials, and they're always on this page. You can check it out. This screen capture is from earlier today. The page is already changed. There's already a Valentine's Day special up, and you can get some great bargains here just by visiting this page. So I encourage you to do that. So that's it for today. I thank you again for attending. And if you have any questions that you didn't ask in the webinar, just email them to me and we'll try to help you. Thanks and have a great day.